Recording in progress.
Tak dengar suaranya Ibu Anissa. Can you open your mic? You mute.
All right. I don't know. Pakai laptop. You know. Check. Okay, let's try it. Check, check. All right, I think it's better now. Okay, thank you very much, Sola, for the warm introduction for me. I'm so honored to be the part of this webinar today. Our webinar today is the part of Solo Photo Festival 2021. And this international webinar is under the theme of photography in the next decade. We're delighted to invite our speakers to share their experience and some updates about photography that I believe in the next decade still very relevant and being new trends in photography. All right, so I would like to introduce our speakers today. We have 5 speakers. Okay, please wait for a moment because I was unable to share my screen. So, okay, now it's good. All right. So I would like to introduce our speakers today. In this webinar, the first speaker is, how could I say that, Bapak Muhammad Nagib Padil, PhD. So Muhammad Nagib Padil, PhD, is a senior lecturer from 2002 until present in the Photography and Creative Imaging Department, Faculty of Art and Design, University Technology Mara, Perak Branch, Zohri Iskandar Campus. And his education backgrounds. Sorry about that. For all the participants, please mute your microphone. Could you please? Is it clear? Okay. So the education background of Bapak Nagib Padil, he received Doctor of Philosophy in Art and Design from University Teknologi Mara, and then he achieved his Master of Visual Communication and New Media from University Teknologi Mara. Also, his okay. And his bachelor degree of photography from University Teknologi Mara as well. Thank you very much, Bapak, for joining today. Okay, so his publication exhibitions are a lot. The recent one is 2020. It's a work in visual communication as a medium standing standard operation posture message to public during pandemic COVID-19 in Universitas Multimedia Nusantara South Tangerang, Indonesia. And there are many outstanding works that I can mention, but yeah, it's on the screen now. Also, there are many exhibitions about photography, and most of them are in Malaysia, but some of them also in Kyoto, and then outside Malaysia. All right, and then next speaker is Dennis Bato, Bapak Dennis Bato. He's from Philippines. He's from Valenzuela City, and he gained his bachelor degree in architecture for Eastern University, and he's currently taking Master of Fine Arts in University of the Philippines. Also, he belongs to group affiliations of Filipinas Street Plan. And I was also amazed by his experience, also exhibitions. There are many as well. There are solo exhibitions and group exhibitions, and many of them are very great arts, especially in photography. He also doing street arts and graffiti. And as we can see here, there are many exhibitions. And for the group exhibitions, he started in 2010 until today, or until this year, and still going. All right. And then he also had some experience in joining competitions, and there have been very good results, or very good championship here, like being finalist, and then until the first place. So it's really great. Okay. Also, for the speaker 3, Bapak Setio Bagus Waskito, SSN, MSN, he's one of the lecturers in the Department of Photography in ISI Surakarta, and he's from Yogyakarta. His education background S1 and S2 at Institut Seni Indonesia, Yogyakarta. He's studying photography also. And his research experience, to mention of some of the research experience, he has studied about photography tiga warna, and then food toys photography, also gambar pitutur. It's more into wayang in Indonesia. Ya, especially Punakawan sebagai inspirasi penciptaan video kanal tunggal. Alright. And then the speaker 4, Bapak Fahroni Arifin, and Mas Fahroni, Bapak Fahroni Arifin has 16 plus years of experience in brand and marketing communication, currently leading the brand management and strategy at Indosat Urido. And again, to mention his educational background is communication science, Universitas Gadjah Mada in 1999. Okay, And then the last speaker, but not least, she is Miss Karina Rusvita Indira Sari. Also, we're so lucky to have you here, Miss Karina. She is an artist and a curator. As we know that she is from Yogyakarta, she initiates collaborative and some projects in arts, also doing some collaboration with curators, communities to work with everything about arts, including photography. Also, she's also doing some storytelling and everything related to education. As we see here, Ms. Rusvita also teaches script writing at the Jogja Film Academy. Also, one of the founders of Incubator Initiative. Okay, these are some activities that Ms. Rusvita has. So in 2021, the recent one, she's one of the country coordinators for Jaga Rasa Jaga Karsa, a seed-funded project to document the possible correlation between COVID-19 disinformation and deterioration of mental health conditions among young activists in Indonesia and Malaysia. All right, so very, very incredible speakers that I meet here today. I'm so honored. And for each speaker, there will be 30 minutes presentation and followed by a question and answer at the end of each presentation. So for the participants, if you have some questions, you can send the questions through the chat box. Or if you're comfortable, you also can speak. We will give the opportunity for you to speak, but at the end of each presentation. Okay, so thank you very much. That was the introduction of the 5 speakers. So for the first speaker, please welcome Bapak Dr. Muhammad Nagib Padil. Okay, so please, thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Anissa. So I try to share my screen first. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my slideshow. So my name is Muhammad Najib. I'm lecturer in photography department at Faculty Art and Designs UITM Perak. Firstly, I want to thanks to Ibu Anissa as moderator for this afternoon, and also panel Bapak Bagus, Ibu Rosvita, Bapak Denis, and also Bapak Faroni Arifin. And saya juga ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Institut Seni Indonesia di atas undangan untuk kita berkongsi idea for knowledge for this afternoon. Antara program-program yang baik adalah program Solo Festival yang setiap tahun saya tengok sangat aktif. So my topic for this afternoon regarding to landscape photography in age of social media era. So as we know, landscape photography merupakan salah satu genre yang sangat popular, terutamanya pandemik, era-era pandemik tahun 2000 dan juga 2001 sangat popular di media-media sosial disebabkan kita tidak dapat bergerak. So jadi image landscape, image food photography, image expressions, one of the visual yang digunakan oleh netizen untuk sharing regarding about emosi, about anything, about to show the environment, their house, and anything. So as we know, theoreticalnya landscape photography merupakan satu visual genre yang menunjukkan tentang nature, about the scene to the viewer. But today you can see anything, a lot of subject, the experiment to join the landscape photography in social media. Then dari segi konsep juga kita tengok visual fotografi ni semakin lama semakin kreatif. Dia have any extra value. So dia different from the landscape yang fotografi yang lama-lama yang dahulunya disebabkan perkembangan teknologi kamera dan juga platform seperti social media. Okey, foto-foto taman, laut, scenery about the hutan bukan saja memberi kita tentang pengalaman, keindahan sesuatu tempat, tapi juga bisa memberikan satu inspirasi dan juga tujuan mempromosi sesuatu kawasan. Okey, contohnya mungkin di Surakarta ada pelajar-pelajar di Institut Seni Indonesia sharing visual di dalam sosial media seperti platform Facebook, Instagram. So masyarakat penduduk-penduduk di Perak, di Malaysia juga boleh berkongsi. So jadi satu populariti landscape fotografi pada zaman sekarang. Okey, jika kita lihat kebelakangan ini, ke belakang semua, disebabkan perkembangan teknologi kamera, kita dapat salah satu impact yang memberi populariti ataupun kepentingan visual fotografi landscape ni semakin menyelah ataupun semakin popular. So kita tengok mungkin based on year before, kita tengok kamera, contohnya kamera obscura dikenalkan pada public. So the functionnya only to trace the visual. So dia tak berapa berkembang waktu itu. So dia punya kamera pun hanya setengah kasta ataupun levels orang-orang yang tertentu saja menggunakan ataupun faham tentang seni fotografi. Begitu juga kalau kita tengok selepas ilmu ini diperkembangkan oleh teori-teori ataupun ahli falsafah foto daripada barat. So you can see how the development of camera daripada film going to digital. So in digital era, about 2.5 billion people they have their own digital camera. Tapi pun masih tidak sepopular seperti zaman sekarang. Foto-foto disebabkan mungkin costing kamera and about the material during that time susah kita nak dapat. Kamera pun mungkin kita kalau kena beli pun mungkin costingnya agak tinggi, hanya orang-orang tertentu ataupun golongan-golongan yang minat, yang highest interest sebab fotografi yang mampu ataupun join dalam bidang fotografi ini, tetapi bukannya level-level public yang biasa. So tapi bila era 2000, bila kita tengok bagaimana teknologi kamera pada handphone, smartphone menggunakan teknologi kamera, so kita dapat tengok dan juga bila blog berubah kepada platform media sosial, so kita boleh tengok visual foto ni semakin lama semakin meluas digunakan. Kita boleh nampak pelbagai platform. Sekarang contohnya kita boleh tengok Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter dan juga mungkin WhatsApp. Seringkali menggunakan image sebagai satu medium ataupun untuk attract public, untuk subscribe ataupun berkongsikan cerita di dalam platform mereka. Mereka berlumba-lumba. Disebabkan disebabkan teknologi sekarang ni, kalau kita tengok kamera dan juga kemudahan daripada sosial media, gambar-gambar mudah kita upload, kita download dan juga kita share kepada public. Tidak seperti suatu ketika dulu zaman filem ataupun digital, kita pakai smart card reader ataupun anything about digital camera. Tapi untuk handphone, so dia punya kemudahannya semakin mudah dan juga jadi populariti dan penggunaan landscape fotografi dalam media sosial juga merupakan salah satu medium yang saya tengok sekarang sangat bagus untuk tujuan-tujuan seperti publication, untuk information, untuk promoting, untuk untuk public announcement. Contohnya sewaktu COVID mungkin di Indonesia atau ada juga visual-visual masyarakat setempat di Indonesia menggunakan platform general landscape fotografi untuk menunjukkan salah satu information yang terkini tentang COVID. Okey, selain daripada itu juga kalau kita tengok kepentingan fotografi landscape ni dalam media sosial juga, selain daripada itu kita boleh nampak bagaimana teknologi ini menyebabkan macam sekarang lah kita ada satu networking, dia membuka satu platform untuk kita kenal lebih global. So Malaysia boleh kenal Indonesia, Indonesia boleh kenal Malaysia, kita boleh kenal kawan-kawan friend from Thailand contohnya, from Philippines, and then you can communicate, so you can sharing about the technology, about the knowledge, about what the future about regarding to the photography. So that part of the advantage lah yang saya tengok bagaimana peranan sosial media dan juga fotografi di dalam sosial media. Tapi kita selain daripada kelebihan-kelebihan ini, so kita kena awasi sebab kita ada kekurangan sikit. Jadi mungkin disebabkan undang-undang ke ataupun setengah peraturan yang mungkin tidak dapat dikemas kini. Contohnya kita boleh tengok bagaimana sosial media pada masa sekarang menggunakan fotografi ini tanpa diawasi. Jadi privacy dan juga jadi etik tentang tu masyarakat kurang sedikit menjaga tentang privacy dan tu. Bagi kita tengok bagaimana kadang-kadang gambar-gambar yang tidak sepatutnya dikongsikan yang boleh mendatangkan kejelekan kepada masyarakat ataupun orang-orang tertentu, boleh mendatangkan hura-hara ataupun ketakutan. Contohnya foto-foto yang waktu COVID dulu menggunakan visual-visual, macam mana dia menyeramkan kita, menakutkan kita, masyarakat, padahal kadang-kadang beritanya enggak benar, kadang-kadang palsu, kadang-kadang fotonya mungkin sudah digunakan 2-3 tahun lepas, jadi tidak relevan pada situasi itu. Jadi bahagian etik, privacy jadi kurang sedikit. Kadang-kadang foto-foto yang tidak sepatutnya di-sharing pada masyarakat. Jadi dia memalukan masyarakat, orang-orang tertentu. Okey, begitu juga dengan mungkin kita tidak sedar bila kita sharing dalam melibatkan tentang teknologi dan juga internet, kadang-kadang walaupun kita sudah buang itu visualnya dalam sosial media, tetapi kita boleh still searching lagi visual-visual tu melalui Google. So dekat situ keselamatan, ciri-ciri keselamatan tidak ada lagi, masih kekurangannya. Jadi kita sebagai penggemar ataupun peminat seni fotografi, jadi gunakanlah kelebihan dan juga jangan dan yang mana ada kekurangan itu kita jangan kita lebihkan, kita gunakan kelebihan tersebut. Okey, daripada segi teknologi juga kita tengok sekarang, kalau dulu mungkin kamera di Indonesia costingnya I think about maybe juta. Di Malaysia mungkin paling lowest pun mungkin RM3,000 Malaysia. So tapi sekarang about 200-300 ringgit Malaysia, so kita have one smartphone and you can take anything about photo. So selain daripada tu, kadang-kadang bila ada minat, ada rujukan, kadang-kadang kita walaupun teknologi tu agak tak berapa highest macam DSLR professional camera, tapi sekurang-kurangnya dia punya idea regarding about any image, about subject matter, composition, subject, dia visual looking like professional photographer. So dengan kos yang mudah, kos yang agak mampu, semua sekarang orang sudah boleh pandai, boleh tangkap gambar dan juga sharing. Dan juga kadang-kadang gambar-gambar yang dia sharing tu still can help us to kita boleh tengok sebagai reference, kita boleh tahu. Contohnya saya tidak pernah datang dulu ke Surakarta, tapi saya pernah datang Bandung dan Indonesia. Tapi nanti mungkin sahabat-sahabat di sini bila sharing, so saya dah dapat gambaran bagaimana keadaan penduduk kat sana, dia punya view dia, kita boleh nampak idea, yang first idea dia. Okey, selain daripada tu melalui kamera handphone juga kita boleh tengok sekarang kita boleh tangkap visual tanpa limited. So unlimited, kita boleh tangkap berapa banyak selagi penuh memori handphone kita. Kalau dulu mungkin kalau zaman filmnya mungkin 36 atau 24 saja sudah takut. Lepas 36 agak costing agak tinggi. Tapi zaman sekarang disebabkan teknologi, kita boleh tangkap gambar seberapa unlimited sampai kita boleh sharing setiap visual-visual tu. So pada masa sekarang juga kita tengok kamera pun more versatile, macam-macam. Kalau dulu kamera mungkin sampai 10 kg, 500 kg lens, kita termasuk flash, termasuk body, termasuk tripod. Tapi right now kalau kita tengok bagaimana handphone, I think lebih kurang berapa kilogram, 1.5 kg, kita dah boleh tangkap macam-macam function, macam-macam. Contohnya Apple, so dia ada keluar lens yang pelbagai. Mungkin Samsung, kita boleh tengok bagaimana dengan wide-nya, Oppo bagaimana dengan sharpness-nya, dengan night fotonya. So dekat situ pun salah satu memberi kelebihan dalam bidang industri landscape fotografi. Dan selain daripada itu, dengan teknologi yang kita ada pada kamera dan juga platform sosial media, kita tengok bagaimana sekarang kita boleh create anywhere, dan bila-bila masa saja. Macam mana kita nak redesign kita punya presentation visual kita. Kita boleh create your own virtual museum, virtual gallery, and then you can exhibit your visual anytime tanpa perlu cost. Just only knowledge and usaha, ataupun you learn from your YouTube and then you create your own gallery. So kalau misal kata ada yang berminat, mungkin boleh membeli visual-visual tersebut. Jadi kalau dulu kalau kita nak berkarya, artis terpaksa kita kena queue, kena apply dekat galeri, dekat museum. So kita kena pay, kita kena buat advertisement. Tapi sekarang dengan ada platform media sosial dan juga teknologi kamera, kita boleh, terutamanya bidang seni fotografi landscape, kita boleh anything, kita boleh secara virtual dan juga kita boleh perkembangkan kita punya visual ni kepada sahabat-sahabat yang luar daripada konteks. Contohnya kalau Malaysia, luar daripada konteks Malaysia, mungkin boleh sampai ke Jepun, mungkin daripada Korea, just only teknologi kamera dan juga platform media sosial. Okey, so selain daripada itu, dengan teknologi kamera dan juga komputer, kita boleh tengok bagaimana wireless sekarang making everything mudah. Kan? Kita boleh sharing, kita boleh upload, kita boleh download, dan kita buat boleh di mana-mana saja pekerjaan tu dengan mudah kita melakukannya. Okey, itu antara kelebihan-kelebihan kamera dan komputer lah. Okey, so zaman sekarang juga kalau kita tengok kita tidak semestinya dulu kalau lens paksa kita kena tukar, kita kena bawa 2-3 kamera, okey, dan berat. So zaman sekarang anytime public ada their own handphone camera, so dia boleh download about anything about application. So gambar semakin kreatif, so anytime dia boleh tangkap around 24 hours per 7, and then 360 degree dia boleh eksperimen. So anytime kamera dia ada dalam poket. So salah satu fungsi penyebab kenapa visual landscape sekarang kita tengok semakin aktif ataupun more publish dekat social media. Okey, selain daripada itu yang sekarang berkaitan dengan teknologi, kita tengok visual landscape ni juga digunakan sebagai satu image untuk kita explore ataupun kita eksperimen untuk kita memberi gambaran tentang VR, virtual reality. So mungkin kita boleh letak contohnya gambar pekan-pekan, gambar-gambar town dekat Surakarta, dan kita boleh imaginekan what we can do about town ni. Kita boleh mungkin kalau kita nak buat inovasi, regarding inovasi, kita nak buat tentang landscaping. So kita boleh planning. Jadi salah satu part of why kenapa visual landscape fotografi dalam social media ni sangat penting lah. And then reduce cost. Okay, so anything we can do it right now, kita tak payah memerlukan costing yang banyak, just only technologies and basic equipment. Okay. Ada sekarang juga kita tengok landscape fotografi dia tak only fokus dekat still photo ataupun just only visual kita tunjuk pokok, kita tunjuk scenery, kita tunjuk space, tapi sekarang cenderung orang minat sharing about landscape fotografi dalam sosial media. Dia ada selitkan, dia ada masukkan sikit tentang video attract. Contohnya motion daripada video, bagaimana dia digabungkan antara still dan juga gambar video untuk publish dia punya visual dalam landscape fotografi dalam sosial media. Begitu juga dengan AI teknologi, drone fotografi, underwater. So everything dia eksperimen. Sekarang golongan muda lebih berminat eksperimen landscape fotografi. Mungkin salah satu dia abstract. Macam mungkin era-era saya mungkin 40-an, mungkin kita just straight landscape photo. Ataupun mungkin kita eksperimen dengan abstract. Tapi right now remaja lebih berminat dengan teknologi. Dia explore dia teknologi, dia apply dan dia sharing dia dalam social media. Okay, so kalau kita tengok pun era sekarang editing tools. So kalau dulu mungkin software kita kena keluarkan costing yang mungkin ribu untuk kita dapatkan satu software Photoshop untuk kita buat retouching, editing. So kalau kita buat satu syarikat production house, so kita costing kita tinggi lah. Tapi right now kalau kita tengok bagaimana golongan-golongan muda, siswa-siswi sekarang dia duduk dia bilik yang kecil, so tapi dia ada old syarikat dan dia buat anything. Dia boleh buat VR, dia boleh buat 360, dia boleh buat drone, dia boleh buat gambar biasa, editing dalam underwater. So sebab apa, editing tu sekarang dah mudah. Kalau kita tengok dekat handphone, kamera ataupun tab, so kita boleh search dekat App Store ataupun Android, so kita boleh tengok. Ada basic software yang dia bagi free ataupun kita boleh beli dengan harga yang termampu and easy to use. Lepas tu dia punya functionality dia, kita tengok apps macam mana kalau kita tak ada wide lens, dia bagi effect wide lens. So kalau sekarang contohnya 360 Insta camera agak quite familiar, agak famous, trendy sekarang, golongan muda-muda boleh pakai. Tapi golongan muda-muda ni kalau walaupun tak ada tools tu, tapi dia boleh download dalam menggunakan app untuk dapatkan efek yang hampir sama. Dan disebabkan editing tools ni yang dalam apps ni kadang-kadang function dia agak basic tetapi easy to use and dia boleh dapat efek yang hampir sama. Okay, impact dia. Kalau dulu landscape fotografi mungkin gambar-gambar dia mungkin publishing dekat printed magazines, mungkin sometimes dekat newspaper, and then kalau paling itu pun mungkin exhibit dekat galeri. So orang-orang tertentu saja ada boleh nampak, boleh tahu, boleh faham dan juga boleh merasai, ada pengetahuan tentang visual tersebut. Tapi right now kalau kita tengok bagaimana dia menggunakan social media, so mungkin gambar saya nanti share dekat siswa-siswi di Surakarta. Oh, macam gini gambar Langkawi contohnya. Oh, macam gini dia punya environment dia. So dia boleh tahu dan juga dia boleh jadi create satu business platform. So itu antara advantage lah untuk gambar-gambar dalam social media, terutama dalam landscape fotografi. Lepas tu yang keduanya melalui teknologi social media juga kita boleh tengok bagaimana kita public learn something new dalam YouTube, dalam social media platform Instagram, dalam Facebook, bagaimana nak menangkap gambar, bagaimana nak editing, how to making collage, how to create your face beauty contohnya. So new approach to learning lah pada saya, important dia. Dan keduanya kita boleh buat perbandingan dan melalui platform social media pun kita boleh collect information, kita boleh tengok gambar-gambar kita yang boleh remember about memories satu kawasan, dan kita melalui gambar-gambar tu juga kita boleh buat comparison untuk kita travel, persediaan untuk turis kan. Dan selain daripada itu kita boleh create group. So melalui group kita boleh join dan create, kita boleh encourage kita punya skill about creativity. Okay. Lepas tu lastly mungkin melalui foto-foto di social media tu, salah satu point yang terpenting sekarang adalah disebabkan gambar lah social media tu, kita tengok bagaimana populariti dia meningkat. Kalau contohnya TikTok ataupun TikTok, so right now macam mana dia, around one day saya rasa beribu lah orang yang access untuk just untuk looking gambar, then like, then comment. Sampai kita bukan tekan like ataupun komen pun, just scroll untuk see gambar-gambar tersebut. Okay, networking. Okay, kalau kita tengok why gambar-gambar landscape ni sangat penting lah sekarang dalam platform media sosial. Kalau kita tengok average right now memang semua social media, I think maybe just tertentu sahaja syarikat printing sekarang yang ada di, contohnya di Malaysia sejak COVID ni di Perak, I think semua kedai printing tutup sebab tak boleh cover, sebab gambar banyak sharing dekat social media. Ini tangkap gambar, so malam sekarang sharing. So kalau kita tengok around dia punya percentage around social media user, contohnya dekat 57.6% population dia, dan lebih kurang hour, lebih kurang 2 hour, 2-3 hour per day orang menggunakan social media untuk looking about information. Okay, so kalau kita tengok dekat hashtag, so kita type hashtag contohnya landscape, jadi about 90 million orang sharing. Okay, kita tangkaplah sunset, sunrise. Mungkin kita tangkap kita hashtag Surakarta dan kita boleh tengok visual Surakarta berapa orang, berapa ramai orang, berapa million orang. I think more than ada tak ada pun more than 1,000 lah contohnya. Maybe lebih. Sebab apa? Zaman sekarang adalah zaman yang orang memang social media dan juga teknologi kamera boleh membantu pelbagai masalah ataupun information lah. Jadi kita tak terlalu bergantung pada mainstream sangat sekarang ni. Mungkin costing macam surat khabar, broadcasting television, so mungkin lepas tu sumber manusia ataupun pekerja. So jadi dengan COVID, ekonomi yang down, so social media ni antara salah satu part platform yang mungkin yang terbaik buat masa ini untuk kita educate people, untuk kita sharing information, untuk kita selling kita punya, untuk dapatkan pendapatan. Okay. Okay, contohnya yang ini saya dapat contohnya daripada dia 9 media sosial yang popular. So kita tengok average pada tahun Oktober, Facebook aja lebih kurang 3 billions, Instagram 2 billions, Telegram 550 millions, YouTube 2.2 billion, WeChat ni yang mungkin youngest, teenagers yang gunakan, yang kita mungkin tak pakai, tapi siswa-siswi mungkin pakai. Tapi WeChat ni agak popular di China, so 1.25 billion aktif. Pinterest, Douyin, WhatsApp yang kita selalu communicate, so 2 billion per month aktif. TikTok, so I think memang sekarang agak yang terpenting untuk social media ni dijadikan salah satu platform untuk peminat-peminat seni fotografi landscape mempromosikan dia punya hasil karya ataupun create something yang boleh mendapatkan satu pendapatan untuk terutamanya yang kita recover balik COVID. Okay. Dan yang agak terperanjat sekarang macam saya cakap tadi, mungkin zaman dulu landscape kalau kita tengok Instagram dia just mountain, black and white, zone system, and then mungkin kalau misalnya era-era 90-an kita tengok landscape town, cityscape tahun 2000, tapi mungkin 2001, yang ini bukannya satu kajian, tapi saya tengok trendy. Mungkin di Indonesia lain, tapi di Malaysia mungkin macam ini. landscape fotografi dijadikan salah satu trend. Contohnya gabungan landscape dan drone teknologi. Okey, gambar landscape dengan style vertikal, selalunya melintang, tapi ini menegak. Mungkin salah satu platform kalau kita tengok dekat Instagram ataupun tu formatting, auto formatting dia. Mungkin sebab tu orang mungkin suka tangkap gambar landscape menegak sekarang. Gabungan image landscape dengan videografi. Gunakan simbol-simbol. Contohnya dia tangkap daun, dia tangkap gambar pokok, tapi ada visual latar belakang, dia punya genre mau kepada landscape, tapi ada simbol-simbol. Selfie dengan landscape. Dulu kalau kita tangkap portrait, selfie tu ada portrait, tapi landscape dicampur. Candid dengan landscape. Ini agak aneh zaman sekarang. Tapi inilah golongan-golongan muda yang sekarang di Malaysia terutamanya menggunakan style ni. Kita tak tahu, kita tak boleh kata yang ini salah. Mungkin salah satunya satu hari ada cabang-cabang landscape yang baru yang mungkin 10 tahun akan datang, mungkin saya 55 waktu tu, mungkin selfie dan juga landscape mix dia jadi salah satu trend untuk dan juga salah satu bawah platform genre landscape fotografi. Tapi inilah penemuan-penemuan yang saya tengok yang agak trendy sejak landscape fotografi. Dan juga yang ini saya eksperimen sedikit. Contohnya, contohnya ini adalah gambar daripada Pulau Tuba, Langkawi. So yang gambar ni adalah my team. Saya rasa dekat Indonesia sepatutnya Dr. Andang pun ada join. Tapi Dr. Andang dapat datang sekejap je untuk survey. Selepas COVID, dia tak boleh datang ke Malaysia. So, my team and some student, so kita gunakan. Tapi saya tengok macam kita, macam 40-an, 50-an, memang akan tangkap gambar landscape yang agak conventional punya method. Use DSLR camera and then capture image high level, low level. But teenagers right now, dia tangkap visual landscape, dia use teknologi. Sama macam saya pun bukan pakai drone, tapi I learn something from that, from people. So this dia about work. So ini drone photography still. Okay. So dia gunakan eye level pun, okay, dia contohnya dia have telefoto yang agak tinggi, tapi dia gunakan teknologi bagaimana dia menggerakkan untuk mendapatkan visual. Contohnya yang mungkin kita zaman dahulu, kita kena pakai telefoto lens 100mm untuk capture burung, untuk capture sapi. Tapi people right now, teenager, dia tak payah pakai. Only modalkan 1,200, dia dapat DJI, so dia fly. Macam kita dulu kalau kamera mau RM20,000 Malaysia, baru dapat satu lens, belum lagi wide, itu belum lagi yang masuk spek-spek. Tapi right now people yang muda ni kita kena hormat dia punya ideologi dia. Okey. Ini menggunakan gambar still, drone, dia gunakan handphone. So I ada rakamkan gambar juga, tapi dia boleh gunakan handphone. So dia punya handphone, kalau kita tengok handphone right now pun dia punya quality pun 4K. Walaupun dia punya DPI, dia resolution ni tak berapa tu, tapi untuk platform media sosial enough. They have their own quality, they can edit and then they can make the visual creative and unique. Itu yang I nak ceritakan. Ini adalah gambar daripada handphone. One part of my team and experiment and student experiment how handphone can be used for commercial value one day. So okay, so yang ini untuk landscape contohnya landscape. One time kita tangkap era DSLR atau filem, mungkin kita kena perlu wide angle ataupun fish eyes. Tapi dia orang cuma boleh itu costingnya mungkin 1,000. Okey. Jadi kalau kita tak ada, mungkin kita tak boleh buat apa-apa. Kan? Tapi teenager right now, dia cuma bermodalkan dalam itu online Shopee atau online shopping, Lazada Indonesia, Shopee Indonesia, dia buy around 300 less than they can capture the unique visual. Ini from handphone. Okay. They also about culture, activity human. So they use their own camera, then capture about activity penduduk-penduduk dekat situ. Tangkap ikan. Dia boleh tangkap fast shutter dan also slow shutter. Kalau kita mungkin slow shutter kena pakai tripod sebab gambar goyang. Tapi ini dalam platform social media, mungkin kalau kita blow up untuk printing billboard, maybe kita terpaksa pakai higher quality, tapi untuk dijadiin posting, untuk sharing, untuk platform social media, I think no need kita bermodalkan yang besar. So selain daripada itu, ini adalah foto, landscape dan dengan video. Biasa dia drone, dan dia I think dia boleh pilih sekarang untuk landscape dalam sosial media, dia yang boleh lagi bagus dan lagi better untuk future lah. So selain daripada yang kita visual kita nampak tu, so kita tengoklah bagaimana platform contohnya Instagram agak popular di siswa-siswi menggunakan Instagram, dan juga platform Instagram agak friendly user dengan image fotografi selain daripada Facebook. Tapi so lebih kalau kita tengok contohnya landscape fotografi, I type ada 57 million posting sehingga semalam. So salah satunya yang I follow Masifu, Dr. Andang, Art Space Menikah. So dia agak aktif dan I attract kadang-kadang tengok Indonesia punya visual dengan dia punya cara kerja based kepada mungkin I ada friend Dr. Andang, so I follow Dr. Andang. So ini antara friends lah yang I follow, yang kita tengok macam mana dia punya idea, macam mana dia punya trend, contohnya Indonesia punya trend landscape fotografi. So I can learn macam mana dekat contohnya kat Los Angeles punya fotografi. Kalau dulu mungkin kita terpaksa beli buku, kita terpaksa tengok surat khabar, ataupun mungkin kawan-kawan kalau kita kenal. Tapi sekarang nothing, melalui social media kita can learn something. Jadi untuk in future I rasa untuk mahasiswa-mahasiswi di universiti di Surakarta tu try jangan contohnya yang ada yang masuk bidang fotografi risau, I tak ada kamera, I tak ada lens, tele, I tak ada what. So you punya zaman is not about equipment. You have not ada content, and then you berminat, you usaha. Confirm you akan dapat satu visual ataupun mungkin lagi kreatif in future. Contohnya sebab you ada pelapis. So in future I think maybe you punya visual mungkin lagi kreatif, lagi trendy daripada zaman saya. Okey, sekian, terima kasih. Itu saja Ibanis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Najib. It was very impressive. I could see, the videos and the photos forever because they're very beautiful. And I think they speak something even though there are no words. Yeah, that's photography. That's the
Yes.
power of photography, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. I think the participants are not ready for the questions yet. So we're going to move to the next presenter. If Pak Najib was presenting about landscape photography, it's about scenery, hutan, beauty, and how everything related to the social media and technology, of course. Now we're going to move to Dennis Bato, and we're waiting for the more insights about photography in the next decade. Okay, so Mr. Dennis Bato, are you ready? Okay, yeah. Sorry, could you please unmute your microphone, Mr. Bato?
Sorry. Yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Okay, thank you. So here's Mr. Dennis Bato. You have another 30 minutes for the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you. Congratulations to Solo Photography Festival and all of the organizers who made this possible. Thank you to Mrs. Poppy and Sir Ifan for coordinating with me regarding the being a keynote speaker for this event. So yeah, I will be talking about unframed images transcending photography. So I would like to first start with my introduction as an artist. So I am Dennis Bato. I am a Filipino visual artist. I do graffiti and street art, and I also do gallery works specific with the most of representation of sculptures, paintings, and installations. So I graduated BS Architecture from Far Eastern University, and currently I am taking my Masters of Fine Arts in University of the Philippines. Um, yeah, so graffiti and street art was my foundation for these are my samples of works for graffiti and street art. So graffiti and street art were my foundation for my art practice. So after I graduated architecture, I pursued the career in art, and I may say that graffiti and street art made me view a different lens with the society, the people, and the spaces. So here are some of my sample works, collaborations with my artist friends. Okay, the following slides will be my works and the gallery installations and art fair works. So here's one of an example. The title of this work is Consequence. It is for Art Fair Philippines 2019 and under Vinyl and Vinyl Gallery. Um, this one talks about the chaotic theory, chaotic systems, and the idea of self similarity, and the idea of how cliche it may sound, but how we people composed of energy impart ourselves with each other, with the people, the memories that was framed or that was captured with ourselves. The same with me, imparting a part of my energy to all of you guys, and you guys also imparting your energies in this event. And the idea of however plentiful of positive things that you've done or given or imparted energies imparted to others, the the most impactful will be the negative one. Okay, next. Here is an installation piece for Archer Philippines as well, 2020, under Artemis Gallery, Kuala Lumpur. So this piece is an floor piece which talks about consumerism, the capitalist society, and our innate materialistic tendencies. Okay. So here's one of my most recent works. This is part of the master's program exhibition for subject in my class. So I made an installation embodying the the narratives of people under the circumstances of the pandemic. So it tackles about the idea of the Filipinos, and I think most of the narratives of the people around the world in lockdown, and a metaphor of a lab rat enclosure or a guinea pig enclosure as a metaphor for um, testings for vaccinations and the false progress, um, the idea of issues of the vaccines, false progress, false hopes, the fear of the unknown. So yeah, I think the question within yourselves are why does a what does a visual artist delving with graffiti and street art doing giving a talk artist talk in a photography event? So first of all, I would like to make a connection with my work and photography or images per se. So when I was still into paintings a couple of years ago, my works are mostly photo based. So for me as a contemporary artist, my works during the time are based on photographs I shoot. An example of this is are this. So the image on the left is part of my exhibition in Vinyl and Vinyl Gallery. It is the title of this is Rutinary. So it is a based on a photo that I've captured in a bus from a commute uh, along EDSA, a main road in the Philippines, in Manila. So it captures the struggle of Filipino working class of existing or their struggles on a daily basis. Because fun fact, in the Philippines before the pandemic, we used to workers or office workers usually spend their 4 hours of their life daily just for the commute. Next, the one on the right side, this one is called Bus Bus, or in English, Bless. This is a painting that I made from a photo that I've taken from a certain place in Manila, which is Quiapo. And Quiapo is a sort of a clashing area for religious beliefs. So Quiapo is where the Quiapo Church located. It is a Spanish era church that was built in the Spanish era in the Philippines, and just outside of the building of the faith of the church, there are a lot of vendors who are selling amulets, and we call that agimat or anting-anting in Tagalog. So amulets that are promising protection against bad spirits and stuff, like even stab wounds and gunshots. So it's like a clashing of religious beliefs. Next is this one is very photo based. So this is part of my solo exhibition in 2016. So these works are uses the technique of the stereoscopic 3D. in which I took a certain angle of the subject and painted it. So you may view it in a lens, in a 3D lens, or if you know how to do the cross-eyed thing, you may see the image in 3 dimension. So next is, since my works are mostly site specific, my graffiti and street artworks are ephemeral, and my installation works are mostly site specific. Photography, images, and photos are very important in my art practice for archival purposes and photo documentation. An example of this is one of my work in a art residency in San Juan La Union, under Emerging Islands. It is a coastal area or beach area, so I've utilized the sand as a material, and then so the idea of the concept of the piece is, I made an installation slash performance for 3 days. So I put up these figures in in an abandoned lot that is turned into a passageway from the main road to the beach. And the idea of us humans taking over a place and giving memories to it, giving meaning to it, and the layers of memories within it. It also talks about the idea of our temporal existence, and as well as the extinction of humans may possibly be made by only 2 reasons. One of which is through natural causes. So the idea of it cracking naturally, or being blown, the sand being blown by the wind and stuff, and the idea of man-made disaster, or through man-made. So people would step on it unconsciously or consciously. So that's the metaphor of it. And then after the whole day, I'm going to repeat it the next day, photo document it, and see the results of the installation. So it's destroyed, of course. So archival is very important to my work. Next is photographs and photos are time capsules. So they capture the moment. At the same time, the moment that you've captured you framed an image, you capture it, you lock it, and it becomes a memory of the past. So for my works, I think my I usually talk about with my works play with the issues of society, connections of human existence, places and spaces, and yeah, people. So it is very now. It is very present. So the same as with photographers, faced with the subject. Um, Photographers usually is a well, how do I say this? Photos were, for me, usually are vantage points of the photographers at that certain time and place. So yeah, speaking of memory of the past, uh, I'm going to share with you guys that way back I am a superhero. Yeah. So here's a memory of my past. So when I was 6 years old, I was Batman, and with my makeshift armor and everything. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to the next question. The main important question for this talk. So, what will be the future of photography for the next decade? For me, these are my insights. So, I'm going to talk about pros and cons of the trends of photography, and my thoughts on it. So, excuse me. First off, photography tell lies. So right now, the advancement of technology, which was discussed by Mr. Padil earlier, through very astonishing, the technology, the applications. Um, there have been a lot of developments from film or the first time that photography has been introduced up until now. And the I think the question of that we will be dealing, as of now, we are also dealing with it. And um, photography will be facing for the next couple of years will be the authenticity of the photographs. So fabrication of images, and here in the Philippines, this have been an issue a couple of years ago for the fake news and from troll accounts, from for social medias and stuff. So yeah, and I think I got this from a professor in my master subject. We Every one of us, I think, have um, every one of us have social media accounts, right? And our existence right now have dualities. So we have the corporeal existence, which is the physical, and of course, and also the our virtual selves, which is ourselves projected towards social media. And ourselves in these platforms were curated. We are edited, are cropped, layered, filtered out. So I think that's one of the question or the cons of that the photography is facing right now and for the couple of years. So here's an example of a photography telling lies. So this is a work by Thomas Demand. The title of this one is Presidency One. So it is a photograph of or an image of the White House seat in the States. And well, the mode of representation for this is photograph, and it was exhibited using photos. But the thing is, these photos were not real. These photos were made out of cardboard boxes and then made to look like the real one. So yeah, this is one of the example of a photograph that lie. Next is this one. So this has become famous a couple of months ago. This was a I think this certain guy, Azazugaku Yuki, um, has a Twitter motorcycle blog who uh, projected as a who projected as a young woman doing motorcycle blog, but turns out he's an old guy, old uncle who uses artificial intelligence for masking or deepfakes for masking his face to turn into a woman. He told the news that the reason for this is because he wanted to garner more likes because he thinks that people will be more interested to a young lady doing motorcycle blogs rather than an uncle. Next is images or photography will be more on the computational rather than the optical. So right now, film photography is slowly being not obsolete, but um, a lot of technologies have emerged and give give a better alternative for photography rather than the film. And the images were not physical anymore. Rather, they are more on the codes. So one of my example here is this work. This is a video work by John Raffman. You may search it in YouTube. It is available in YouTube. You, the World, and I. It was made in 2010. So the story behind this is so John Raffman is looking for a memory from his memory of her ex lover of his ex lover, and who is a very camera shy. So he utilized Google Street View, Google Earth at that time, and tried to search for places that they've been to. And luckily, he was able to capture just one image, only one image. This image that is on your screen of his ex lover. And so because of the So he was searching for Wix for this, and because of the updates, every now and then updates of the application or the program, it was being replaced by other image, so it was gone forever. So the thing is, I think because of being photographs being digital, the tendency of it being corrupted and being gone through eternity is much more will be much more common in the future. Next will be 3D to 2D to 3D. So I speak like a robot now. Um, what I mean is, from photographs are from the 3D or the physical world. We capture it, we frame it, and then it turns into a or framed into a two-dimensional surface from a photo print, our screens, our monitors, and I think it is happening right now that these images are transcended into back to the three-dimensional realm. So this is a example of that. So this is the work of Daniel Stigman Magrane. The title is Phantom. So it is a collaboration piece with ScanLab Projects London, and so they've captured images and 3D scanned the a part of the Atlantica Mata Atlantica forest in Brazil and reintroduced it as a three-dimensional experience using the Oculus Rift. Next example is one of so this work is a 3D work. It is done by my one of my closest friend, Carl Gustav. It is a rendition, his rendition of One Lunas Polarium for his master's thesis in 2011. So at that time, 3D in 2011, 3D applications, VR, AR is not yet introduced to the public. But he made a walkthrough of the painting, of the 2D painting, and created a new space that viewers may, at that time, it's more on the visual, but it is more of the experiential approach of the 3D, three-dimensional, based from the two-dimensional. So I think in the future, or maybe a couple of years from now, they will be um, there will be much more senses that will be tapped with the transcending from the 2D to 3D, like our sense of smell, the touch. Well, it's very futuristic, but I'm very excited to see that. Next is I think the importance of photography will be what story do you want to tell. So what vantage point are you going to frame this? Um, is it whether it's authentic? You're aiming for authenticity. You're aiming for whatever practice you're doing, commercial purposes, for personal, for art, for documentation, for capturing the moment. It is the story you want to tell. It is more of being yourself or giving soul to your photos. That matters, and how you connect with your piece, your photograph, with the viewer. Yeah. Next. So this is, yeah, for that the story to tell. I would like to give this example. Last example. This is my last example. This is work by Magdalena Hetalova. The title of this work is Atlantic Wall. This was in 1995. So it was a photograph of the Nazi bunkers in the Atlantic coast from Norway to Spain. That spans from Norway to Spain, and then she projected images or text rather from Paul Virilio's book Bunker Archaeology. So Magdalena Hetalova wanted to tell the story, or to open the eyes of the viewers of the story of the war, the memory of the war, the place, the memory of the place, and the the image use, and how war affected the lives or the space itself, the memory, or how it attributed or contributed with the memory of the space itself. So to end my presentation, I would like to read a couple of texts by Eddie Adams and Dwayne Michaels. So Eddie Adams said that not everybody can read a newspaper, magazine, or book, but everybody can read a photograph. The most powerful weapon in the world has been and can be a photograph. Military weapons can only destroy. Cameras in the hands of photographers with hearts can capture love, passion, change lives, make the world a better place. And it only takes 1/500 of a second. Life goes on. We photograph it, but it's much better with love. So I think it is a good photograph have souls, and those souls are from us, from the photographers. The energy that we impart with our photographs are their soul. And then lastly, photographers tend to not photograph what they can see, which is the very reason one should try to attempt it. Otherwise, we're going to go on forever just photographing more faces, more rooms, and more places. Photography has to transcend description. It has to go beyond description to bring insight into the subject or reveal the subject not as it looks, but how does it feel. So yeah, just like what I've said, this photography should should transcend from their boundaries, from the boundaries of photos, images. I think exploration on multidisciplinary approach for photography, whether it's for from technology, collaboration with technology, collaboration with other art forms and art practices. So, yeah, maraming salamat sa lahat. Thank you. Terima kasih semuanya.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis Baro. What a very great insight that we have just got here. It's about photographs and everything about the beauty, about the archives of lives from photographs. And yeah, I agree. And then I think we also agree that photographs can be, speaking or okay, photographs tell everything, even lies. And that's, yeah, I agree that the authenticity becomes one of the challenge for the photography in the next decade. Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis Bado. I think we're going to hand this over to Mr. Bagus, Pak Bagus. And if Mr. Barros has already spoken about unframed images transcending photography, and many cool things I can say in the presentation we just seen before, Bagus will share more about photographic print as a new branch of visual art. Okay, Pak Bagus, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Time is yours. 30 minutes. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam. At first, I got confused about the theme, photography beyond 10 years up ahead. So, well, why don't we talk about photography from the memory itself, so we can know more deeper about photography. So then I found that photographic process it has to be reconsidered as new branch of art outside from the photography itself, because the photography itself is got a different definition right now. So it's okay. I will start my presentation with my PowerPoint. Okay. Where is it? Okay. This is more about a question. It's not. It's not some judgment definition or something that I propose, but I think I need to ask to think about it, to reconsider photographic print as new branch of visual art. This is about the first made circa 1827, yes. The era of lithograph, I think, lithograph found by Nietzsche, used a bitumen Judea, I think, to make something faster than engraving with hand, because Nietzsche lack of skill of engraving. So he think about, what about I'm using sun for engraving, or for engraving to litho. So he found it lithography, and meet the camera obscura from the Dagware, and they come after that they collaborate together to make a Dagware type. Camera Otica itself, camera obscura itself, circa 1764, already used by many painter to hide the drawing. So to add the drawing naturalistically. So this is about the timeline. 1839, Talbot Publicity introduced a new paper-based process. He worked in 1839, calling it a photogenic drawing, but it required much longer exposure than the Dagware type, and result not as clear as not detailed. Hippolyte Bayard in in the same years present the first public exhibition of photography. He claimed to have invented photographic process prior to Dagware and Talbot. There's so many in the timeline in the same years. There's so many develop of photographic work. Mungu Bonton discover gum bichromate. Talbot using holotype in 41, and then Anna Atkins published first book, British Algae, from cyanotype photogram. And then in 69, James Clerk Maxwell present projected additive color. This is a leading photography to the color era, and so on until arrive in the firstborn of cinema. As we know, cinema itself, born from chronophotography, is defined as a set of photography moving object taken for the purpose of recording and exhibiting successive phase of motion. So, Muybridge is for, using it for science, motion science, to capture the motions, to study motion of human and animal. This is a chronophotographic gun in 1982. And then it's become anamorphic, animated, yes. And they use a kinetoscope to enjoy the movie from layer of photography, and they move it by machine. Kinestop showing using the earphone, little cylinder of phonograph within cabinet. In these years, cinematography was separate from photography as a new genre, because the process is including duration to enjoy it. So cinematography is a new genre of art, and wrote the what I mean is yeah, it's about a change about photography after 2 centuries. They travel together about camera and printing, photography printing. They have to separate when digital era come. So photography is considered as camera itself by digital camera, and then they leave the chemical process. They not longer use because it's more computerized, and photography considered as just camera and what they do on the camera. Because in the process of someone must have a different skill from printing lab. Photography print lab need some most defined process, skill set, then then taking a picture. So it will be more easier in the digital era if they leave the chemical process. A digital camera is a capture photograph within digital memory. Most camera produced today are digital, largely replacing those capture image in the photography film. Until the advent of such technology, photographs were made by exposing light-sensitive photography film and paper, which was processed in liquid chemical solution to develop and stabilize image. Digital photographs are typically created solely by computer-based photoelectric and mechanical technique without bad processing. So this is more cheaper, more easier, more user-friendly to others, to peoples, and photography world is not exclusive anymore because everybody can be a photographer then. I remember in my first learning of photography, uh, it's very difficult to know the successful photograph that I made by instance because before I know the result, I have to go to the laboratory photography lab process to wash it, to rinse it, to print it. Then I know what is wrong with my photo, about this composition, about this, about the speed, about the everything. So this more expensive to learn photography in the past than right now. In the digital era, we can learn faster. If you take a picture, then you can see in the preview LCD in the back of the camera, then you see the result of your picture that you taking, and you can repeat again until it's right or until it's done by your desire. So photo digital make everybody can be a photographer. Separate way, it's really like about camera and photographic print itself. After married to social media and the camera phone, camera more more easy to use to everybody, and the media of sharing photograph itself is different than before. In the year of Daguerre, you can gather people on your village to see and to enjoy the photograph, how wonderful photography is. And after that, in the 1990s, circa 1990s, when come my birthday, I took a photograph and I will print it about 2 or 3 copies, one for myself, one for my friend, one for my family, and then I put it the photograph to the album. I see it whenever I like to memorize my past, and then that's the power of photography. I think photography can freeze the memory, can store it to the album. And right now is there is a different way to enjoy the photography, and we can take photo and an instant we can share it to the many people, but we can forget it as fast as we can upload. So the behavior of enjoying photography is different too right now, and we don't bother about the memories anymore. Facebook will remind us, Twitter will remind us 1 years in the front, or how many years they will push the photo to the our timeline. This is your memories about 3 years ago. You want to share it, something like that. So the photography real it feels it's like doesn't need chemical process anymore, except for the art purpose. There is much people who love photography in many ways, hobbies, memories. Um, we are attached to the photography in the different way, and some people had a nostalgic memory about the old print. Uh, Me myself start studying darkroom in the 1995. It's a brand new experience for me to know the printing process of photographic process using enlarger, using developer chemical salt, using fixer, etc., etc. Um, um, the image that we produce in the darkroom is had something different if we do it itself. Um, the satisfaction is doubled if we got the picture by the camera and we develop it by itself by ourselves. It's so satisfaction, but it's taking time, taking money, taking effort, more effort to do it. Effort is not some favorite things in this instant world. People like the instance. So camera, phone camera, smartphone is the best gadget, I think, right now. We can deny it. Smartphone is full of feature. In one gadget, we can do a photo, we can do a video, we can share it, we can edit it, we can enjoy it, everything amusement using one gadget. So who doesn't want that way? And then photographic print is really got forgotten by people right now. Until someone who knows, until someone who concerned, until someone who got the best memories of the photographic print presented as a new art with all way, a new art with old way, new visual art with old way that they know right now. Gum oil, chlorophyll prints, semigram, cyanotype, um, rising about they're rising in the age of digital camera as photographic print, not as photographic. They don't use a camera to produce the image. They use it. They use contact print. They use a digital negative. They no longer use camera again. I think we we have to consider it for a new art genre that born from photography, like cinematography. Thank you for listening. For Sudah, Mbak Anissa, silakan.
Thank you very much, Bapak Bagus, for taking us back to the late 19th century, where everything was, started. And we also noticed that cinematography from photography, it's all, a complex, complicated process, to capture moments into paragraphs. We need a lot of efforts and money and energy. And yeah, now we became more clear that the photography, everything related to photography, has changed, has changed so much and in many ways. Okay, so nowadays it's no more complex and complicated process because everyone is a photographer. You can just photograph any moment in one single click. Okay. Thank you very much, Bapak Bagus Setio Bagus ya. Now we're moving to the next presenter. We are going to hand this over to Mas Bapak ya, bukan Mas. Oke, Bapak, wait a minute. Fahroni Arifin as the speaker 4 in this webinar. Bapak Fahroni, are you ready? Bapak Fahroni, maybe please unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I in?
Okay, audience, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our fourth presenter, Bapak Fahroni Arifin. Time is yours.
Hi, thank you, Anissa. Hi, everyone. This is amazing. Thank you for the opportunity. And by the way, what I love from this situation, despite of that, we can have this session without going anywhere, is that I can even do this in my car. As you see now, I'm actually in my car and doing this, and I can still see everyone. I'll change my background so that we can have a right. Okay, I'll use this background so that it's more formal now. But okay, I'm about to share. Probably this is quite different from your expectation, and I think that's why I'm here. I'm not from the photography background. Instead, I'm from the brand side. The reason why it's important to have a view from someone from the brand side, because basically we are the brand people are the client for the commercial photography, right? All the commercial ads, all the basically when you are doing commercial and not art, right? You need to have a clients, and those clients are brands, are products, are people behind the company, and that's why we are here. Then that's why I'm here. So I will be here not talking about photography point of view or technical point of view. Instead, I will let you know what we think and what we need from brand point of view towards photography. Might be you need to change your expectation from now on, and let's open a discussion here. I will present probably like a 10 minutes presentation, but I'm currently senior VP for brand at Indosat Uridu for brand management and strategy. Basically, I'm responsible for any communication, any brand building, any advertising. So whenever you see advertising of IM3 Uridu or Indosat Uridu, basically I'm responsible for that. And I can be a good client for agency, for photographer, for videographer, for everyone. That's I just put the context. Before that, I was head of brand and communication at Hutchison 3 Indonesia, another telco company. And previously, I was working at the agency, creative agency, at Leo Burnett, at BBDO Indonesia. I was in Ogilvy back then, Initi, Josenko, and so on and so on. So I will put this into different contexts right now. Today, despite of that, I love the situation for being able to talk with you in my car, in everywhere, and no issue on that. But actually, it's very tough situation for everyone, and also for the brand. This is a hard situation for the brand, and it's harder than ever. Being a brand is really tough. The reason why it's tough, because too many visual contents out there, too many social media contents, too many good photographic content, too many like even now you cannot separate between professional photographer or Instagrammer. You cannot separate between a good visual artist and probably for professional visual maker or content creator. Everyone has the capability, everyone has and has the opportunity to learn something, and a brand for us can buy from anyone. It's not important for us to whether it's purchasing from a photographer or Instagrammer or a content creator or just a student. It's not important for us anymore. You don't have to be a professional photographer to have a client like us, like Indosat, for example. If you can deliver something, then we probably can purchase from you. And it's also being confusing, scattered, and similar. Everything looks similar from brand A, brand B, brand C. You don't see any differences anymore, right? For consumer, it's really confusing because they cannot recognize whether it's a brand or it's a just a content anymore, right? So a brand now can be lacking of character. So they are losing their identity. They don't have it anymore. For example, oh, I'll give you another example. I love this quote. Before I show you example, I love this quote. Howard Schultz. Well, I love Starbucks so much. I even have Starbucks now. And the reason for me loving Starbucks, loving the brand, is not just about the coffee. It's also about the culture, about the value that they deliver, about the uh, uh, mm, comfortness that they provide in every store. Right? Starbucks is actually not for Howard Schultz. It's not a coffee shop. Starbucks for him is a meeting place where you can meet people while you can have coffee and you can spend hours there. They will provide you a nice environment, a good music, and a warm welcome from the staff and everything. So Starbucks is a meeting point for Howard, and that is the positioning that he wants to build. That Starbucks is not just a coffee shop. Everyone can sell coffee, but not everyone can provide a good place like Starbucks. That's what Howard said. So, in order for a brand to survive, just like what Howard said, that customer must recognize that the brand is known as something. So, like in Indonesia, I think all of you are very common to hear that. Ayo ketemu di Starbucks or let's meet at Starbucks. Let's have a chat at Starbucks. Why? Because it's convenience. The place is almost everywhere and always nice, right? And it's always spacey. You can work there and everywhere. So that's actually the image that he wants to build. Howard wants everyone thinks that Starbucks is a nice place to meet everyone. It's a nice place to hang out. That's it. And so, very important. Now I'll show you why it's getting confusing for Indonesian for the brand, especially Indonesian, like this. If you see here, right, there are two photographic words. Actually, this is ads basically. Gojek and Grab. There is almost no differences aside from on the left side, the guy is wearing Grab jacket. On the right side, the guy is wearing Gojek jacket. But if you remove the brand, no one will recognize which one is Grab, which one is Gojek. From photographic point of view, you have similar depth of field. You have similar expression. there is someone smiling. You even have similar pose. Someone smiling with the driver. You even have the same color code. Imagine being a brand is, in Indonesia, it's really tough to get attention from people. You even have the color code. So how to make people understand which is Grab and which is Gojek if you don't put the logo? But that's not what photography can do. That's not what visual design can do. A visual design photography should be able to create character, right? Why? Because we are known for many centuries, I think, since photography first invented, that it's a key element for building brand identity and character, right? Even you build your character, your identity through your photo profile. Look at your social media account and your photo profile. You define yourself based on your photography, right? Based on your selfie, whether you are wearing a jacket like me, or whether you are wearing a suit, or whether you are wearing anything, right? Or whether you are being taken photo on the evening, in the morning, with a strong light, with a side light, with a rim light, with a silhouette. That photographic work creates different identity and character to every human or to every brand. On the other side, brand should be able to tell story and its character by visual appearances. So just want to let you know that all the photography here that I put in here is part of our advertising, part of our brand works. We try to define our photography differently from the competitors, from the expression, even from the angle, from the light, from the color. We try to differentiate. Why? Because it's really tough for a brand to differentiate themselves. In order to win customer, wait, let me hide. In order to win customer, and now customer is very visual savvy, right? They know how to take picture. They know how to do photograph. They even have an expensive camera. They even have more followers than you probably. I believe you are all are photography enthusiasts, or you probably are professional photography. But I can tell you, your customers has more followers than you, agree or not? Means what? They probably can take a better picture than you on Instagram. That's how demanding our customer. They are visual savvy. And to win over them, photography for a brand must be able to deliver story in the most contextual manner. So for a brand, photography is not just a visual excellence. It's not just how good you take the photo. It's not how sharp your lens is taken photo, or how good your light. No, photography is more than that. It's more than just visual excellences. Photography for a brand has to be able to deliver story, to tell story, to show what is the character, to show how is the identity. This photo for IM3 Uridu, for one of our brand, is completely different from the photo that you may see on the competitors. For example, like XL, Telkomsel, or 3, or Axis. Completely different, because we want to try to build a character, differentiator. The warm color with the yellow background has to be able to strengthen that character and identity. That's what we want. I just want to show you why photography for the brand should be able to blend and part of the holistic context. So you have photography is only one part or one element from a holistic communication. I'll show you one example. This is our campaign. We launched this campaign on December 2020 last year. The campaign is considered got awarded by YouTube as the best ads in Asia Pacific, right? With 114 million views within 13 days. Imagine. Top 10 most talkable brand in Asia, most followed, and so on and so on. We got many awards from this campaign. I'll show you a bit. Sorry, can you hear the audio? No, okay. I think I have take out. Okay, let me know if you can hear the audio. So now the question is, what kind of photography that you need in order to complete the campaign? Because for the campaign, it's not just about photography. Campaign is also, you have a video, you have animation, you have writings, you have everything, right? That's the holistic campaign. And now the question is, then what types of photography that a brand needs? And this is the answer. So if you see here, the photography is only probably not in the best format, because you chop this, you chop there, you chop this, and you combine into one image, right? And this image, this single image, actually tell the whole story also. But you have to also to see the video. If you don't see the video, you don't understand. If you don't read the campaign context, you don't understand. That's why for a photographer also, it requires for him to understand the whole story of the campaign, right? This is the separated version of each of them, right? Each of them has different format, and each of them telling this the different story, part of the campaign. If you only talk about photography itself, probably the story will not be delivered. People won't understand. That's why we need video, we need photo, we need animation, we need website, we need everything. Photography is only part of that. I'll show you another example. This is just launched a few months back. We work with Iwan Fals, the legendary Indonesia legend, and we got 155 million views, right? And now we are becoming top 10 strongest brand in Indonesia, top 10 most valuable brands in Indonesia. We got several awards, we got many awards just from this campaign. I'll show you. Mbak, bisa dengar audionya nggak tadi ya? Oke.
Another question, what kind of photography that you need to complete the campaign? And this is it. Maybe you see from technical excellence, from technical point of view. Well, I love this photograph, showing Iwan Vals in very strong character, showing Baskara in very strong character. But actually, if you don't see the video, if you don't understand the whole story, the complete story, maybe you cannot capture them in the right manner. Maybe it's just becoming a pose. So very important for the photographer also to understand the whole story. This is actually the complete photo, the raw photo taken by Harat Frastio. He's a well-known commercial photographer. We've been working with him for probably last 5 years, and we have a good partnership with him. See, between before and after, right? There are many options, but Harat able to capture the character of Iwan Fals precisely. So what is next? If we are talking about 10 years from now, 5 years from now, right? The world of brand communication is changing a lot. Why it's changing? Because social media creates people touch point equally. Now you cannot say that the most important is video, the most important is photography, the most important is animation, the most important is audio. You cannot say that. Why? Because the experience in social media is through multiple touch point. People consumes in multiple way, multiple format, multiple platform. You scroll Instagram, you may see some photo, but then you move to Reels, you see video. And then you click on Twitter, you see words. All of them creates different messages, but actually completes each other. So photography is now becoming an element from the holistic experience of storytelling. Photography is not just sitting alone. It's not just standing alone. It's part of the whole element. It's part of the whole experience, along with video, animation, writing, and other contexts. That's why tomorrow, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, probably, I think photography has to be able to blend with more and more and more and more format. Now we are talking about metaverse. We are talking about virtual reality. We are talking about different experience. And if you are standing there thinking that photography is the most powerful medium for commercial, probably you have to change that perspective immediately. Because for a brand, what we need is a complete experience of delivering message, delivering story. And this is from my side. Or if you are a brand owner, this is what you should do. What should I do? First, identify the core audience to whom we are talking to. If we are talking to teenagers, then we have to build a brand credibility and identity with visual language for teenagers. If you are talking to professional, then you should do that consistent brand identity or visual identity for the particular audience. You cannot change over here and there, here and there. That's why if you see from here, our core audience is mostly first jobber and fresh graduate. That's why we are continuously building this character, this identity over and over for the past probably 5 years. The photo is similar to like that. If you see from here, from very beginning, there is a full expression. There is a mystery on it. The color, there is consistency for all the identity. So number 2, set the brand character and message.
make it relevant and contextual with the audience, and set also the photographic character accordingly. So the visual has to be relevant with the character and the message, and then leave mark, execute in the most relevant emotion, be consistent with the body language, expression, and technical setup. Imagine this photo was taken 3 years ago. 3 years ago. This photo was taken few months back. See? This photo was taken 1 year ago. This photo was taken 2 years ago. So we are maintaining that consistency from the lighting, from the angle, from the expressions, from the technical setup, even the angle. We try to make it as consistent as possible. We work with the same photographer for the 5 years. Why? Because we want to differentiate ourselves with other brands. We don't want to be trapped in this situation. We don't want to be trapped in here. Between you and your competitor, there is no differences. There is no definitive character. I think that's my presentation. Thank you. I would love to answer if you have any question, and probably we can discuss from here. I think this is a great opportunity for me as a brand owner, as a client, to discuss with you, the professional or the photography enthusiast, and let's have a chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mas Faroni Arifin, for the insights about brand awareness, about brand building. It, of course, give us a different perspective about photography and how it helps our society. And of course, from the presentation, Mas Faroni already reminded us that if we want to have a set of story, or we want to tell story, for a photograph is one of the part, or one of the elements of the storytelling itself. And also one thing to remember, taking picture or taking a photograph, we have to pay attention to our purpose of making the photographs. That would be meaningful. Okay, thank you so much once again, Mas Faroni. And more questions, if you have any question. The chat box is ready all the time, and in the end of our webinar, the questions will be answered by the presenters. Okay. The last presenter, Ibu or Mbak Karina, are you ready? Mbak Karina?
Yeah.
Okay. So Miss Karina Rusfida is here with us. Yeah, this is our last presenter for today's webinar. She is an artist from Yogyakarta, also a lecturer, an educator in artworks. So for Miss Karina Rusfida, time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Anissa Putri Cahyani. Okay. But before I begin, I would like to thank you to Ibu Anin Astuti who invited me to join this international seminar on Solo Photo Festival. And thank you as well to the organizer for creating this seminar. The issue, I think, is very essential for all of us. So can I share the screen now? Bentar ya. Hmm. Okay. Or could you help me to share from your side, please?
Wait a minute, please.
Okay. Bisa, Mbak? Oke, kayaknya itu bisa. Yeah, I will start now. Okay, when I was asked to give a presentation at this festival and speculate about the face of photography in Indonesia in the next decade, instantly I thought about the issue of consent. Of course, it was triggered by the case of VA or even Ariel Peter Pan in the past. Those incidents were supposed not to happen or could be avoided. We must admit that photography nowadays is a very annoying thing to each other, although photography has the power to be used for the good of humankind. But before I begin, I would like to tell the story about safe space in photography. I have to look back, especially at the rapid development of photography in the last 2 decades or so. I think the rapid development has been explained before by the other presenters before me. Bapak Muhammad Najib said the same things, also Pak Bagus. I still want to tell the story about this because those explanations amplify that this is an important issue to tell for any topic around photography nowadays. This development is very important. Okay, slide 2, please. I think.
Oh, I think it's different file.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
But the first one, I think is the right one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the image.
Okay.
And the pink one.
Okay, please wait for a moment.
And I also put the Q on that.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Itu slide kedua ya. Sekarang di situ dulu. Okay, there are two critical advances in the development of photography today. Slide 3, please. The first was the discovery of digital technology on cameras. Cheaper digital storage technology replaced expensive film. The size of the camera that was once large and bulky has become more compact. Even we can keep it inside our pocket. However, photography was still a luxury thing. Only a handful of people could afford a digital camera back then. The next development put photography technology to become more affordable for everyone. Digital photography is getting cheaper. Everyone could become a photographer. Pak Muhammad Najib also saying the same thing. Pak Bagus also. So yeah, this is important. The technology of the camera has become very advanced. Like mobile phone companies attach high resolution cameras to the phone. This technology has accelerated this shift. This photographer, the user of the camera in the phone, use photography as hobby and also means to show existence. Photography that once very exclusive has become the most democratic medium. Just pick up the phone, hold and point it to the object, press the red button, you create a masterpiece yourself. Photography is effortless, cheap, and fun to do. The second development was the emergence of social media such as Facebook and Instagram. Social media gave a bright new color to these rapid changes in photography. Photography once was produced by and for the benefit of the media or for a specific purpose. Today's photography belongs to everyone. Photography becomes inclusive. Everyone becomes the producer and social media becomes the channel of distribution. There is a suitable quote for this, come from Andy Warhol, but I will not quote him because he had several cases of sexual abuse. In social media, everyone can create content and social media is the place to share it. Any photo you post on social media will be visible to the world. Even when you deleted it, jahat ya jejak digital itu. Kita punya hashtag ada selfie, wifi, outfit of the day, I was born like this, self-care, and so on and so on. We can see or watch the content for free, or we can pay for some exclusive content. But we need to question all of these advantages. Who is the producer or the maker of these photos? And how is the photograph being distributed? Who will get the profit or benefit for all of this? Slide 4, please. Those two things are the situation today that was never imagined before. This situation almost did not exist at a time when photography was an exclusive thing because photography only belonged to several people who were able to produce photos only. And also the distribution channel were limited. Today, many problems arise, one after another, from copyright infringement issues, the porn, child porn, revenge porn, or also sexy selfies. If we browse those problems in the Google search box, we can see many keywords appear in the search. For example, copyright infringement and the photography right will show 848,000 entries. Sexy selfie, 490,000 entries. Child porn, 517 million entries. Revenge porn, 169 million entries. These are huge numbers as keywords result that show these problems are quite significant in photography today. Next. how do we suppose to respond to the problems? The keyword that might help to unravel this problem are consensus and collaboration. Consent means permission or agreement, and collaboration is working together. Thus, there are several questions we should ask ourselves when we are going to take a photo. First, has the person being photographed agreed to be photographed? Second, has the person being photographed agree on the distribution of the photo? If both questions answer with yes answer, then the photo can be considering as consent made and also can be published. There are several ways that can be used to reach this agreement, which are working together or collaboration in the making. In that way, the party who is being photographed and the party who makes the photo work together to produce the artwork or the photograph. This kind of practice makes the photograph is not the sole owner anymore of a photograph. This collaboration process opens the possibility of joint ownership of the work. Everything related to the photo production process and photo distribution should be discussed and decided together. The problem of consent and collaboration cannot be separated from two perspectives that can be used as a guide to examine this. The perspectives are ethical perspective and the methodological perspective. These two perspectives seem to think apart, but if you look closer, it is one perspective altogether. The photograph can be very problematic if the ethic is right, but the way of making it is not right. If the ethics are wrong, and then the method is definitely messed up. The ethic and methodologies of photo making are important when we are dealing with social media and digital reproduction. Ethics and methods find the photograph and the photographer and the work. Similar to the issue of consent, if ethic and method in photography tie into issue who was involved in the making of the photo, how was the photo is made, and how the photo will be distributed. In Indonesia, the law that regulates the issue is the copyright law in the Undang-Undang Nomor 28 Tahun 2014 sebagai pengganti dari Undang-Undang tahun 19 tahun 2002 can be seen checked on the https peraturan ppk.go.id home detail 38690. Some other example of this strict ethical guideline in the photography are available at photographerwithoutborder.org. You can check on the website. If you check on the Photographers Without Border, under Code of Ethics, they have many ethical regulation that need to be followed if you want to join this community. You can read by yourself, yeah, because it's many. Okay, the issue of consent and ethics are closely related to power relations in photography. We know that power relations start with whoever behind the camera is the one who has the power. They are the subject who can ask to move the object, whoever or whatever in front of the lens is the object. This subject-object relationship is the basic guideline in photography ethics. The subject and object relation work within the framework of not exploiting each other. From the situation I explained, we can see now how photography will be in the next 10 years. Don't be afraid just yet, as if the problem of constant on collaboration will be an obstacle for your creativity. Instead, we should be happy that this situation, consent and collaboration, make photography as a space, a safe space for both photographer and collaborating parties, because there is a consensus that we are confident that this work will not harm other parties. Some examples that portray the future of Indonesian photography in the next decade are emergence of works that talk more about issues that are close to the photographer and also seem trivial, even though they are not. Some of the photography works I'm referring to are in the artwork created by photographer Anin Astiti in her works Villain Noir, and the works of Hindra Setyarini in the Memories of the Pandemic, or photographic work produced by the artist as a model, such as the photograph of Melati Suryo Dharma, and also Aumda Yu. She creates Pawan Lembur, whose practice collaboration method with a local community. The four artists are examples of today's art practices, how photography can become a safe space for humankind. Slide 6, please. Yes, that's Anin Astuti. Let's stop there. Anin Astuti creates photography with a darkroom technique known as photogram. In the film noir, Bu Anin, check my spelling, please, if I spell that correctly. She created images outside of reality. The situation and condition in real life taken with a camera will be a contradiction in this work where film noir, which has black and white tones, makes it appear as a non-realist image formed from the recording of the object through the enlarger light. Villain noir is an urban imagination showing expectation, condition, and messages about a city. The exploration in this photogram series combines the darkroom technique and exploration of the material used to produce the desired effect. During the process of working, there are many new findings that can be understood as technical deepening, which has become an achievement in the work to date. Next slide, please. Hindra Setyarini. I think she is part of the exhibition, right? I found the picture on her social media, and she explained that this memory pandemic is an ongoing personal project, works as her attempt to document the COVID-19 pandemic through food. She started it around 3 weeks after the large-scale social restriction (PSBB). The concept started with the questions to her friend that she sends through WhatsApp. What is the food that you often have during the pandemic? Is there any difference in your food consumption before and after pandemic? Is there any particular food or drink that you didn't like before, but this pandemic forces you to consume it for health or immune reasons, or vice versa? Then the result become the subject of the project. And she also asked her friend to send their local newspaper from their area if it's possible. She used the newspaper to be in the background of the food photography and also to show the context of time and location. In the end, when the pandemic is over, she would like to reread the whole series as the memory during pandemic through food. Slide 8, please. I would like to mention also Melati Suryo Dharma. I cannot show the photograph because I don't ask for her permission yet, but please check on her website. She has a collection of photographs that is very, I think it's very strong. She often use her body as her object. So she put herself as the subject and the object at the same time. Melati Surya Dharma performances have been dealing with the relationship between a human body, a culture in which it belongs to, and a constellation where it lives. Through the presence, she compiles, extracts, conceptualizes, and translates some phenomenon or subject into movement, action, and gesture that are specified to her performance. Melati Surya Dharma performance concerned with cultural, social, and political aspect in which she articulates through her psychological and physical body. Her performances feature elements of physical presence and visual art to talk about identity, energy, politics, and relationship between the body and the environment surrounding it. Melati Surya Dharma is an Indonesian-born visual artist who lives and works since 1994 in Germany, but now she is resident in Solo. She was graduated at the Universitas Pajajaran Bandung in Social and Political Science, Hochschule für Bildende Künste Braunschweig, Germany. She was student of Marina Abramovic and finished her postgraduate focus in performance art and Raum concept. Surya Dharma has presented her work in various international festivals and exhibitions since 1996, including Venice Biennale, Marking Territory, INA Dublin, etc., etc. And I think we should check the website because there are several photographs that is very strong. And the next slide. Slide 9, Dayu. I haven't asked the permission to use her portrait yet, so yeah, I left it blank. But can check on her social media at Dayu, Instagram. Rituals are part of every day of Cipta Gelar community. With this work, she works together, make collaboration with Cipta Gelar community. She stays there for several months to get the insight and live with them to have the experience and also to gain trust from the community. One of the ceremony she wants to portray is Sawan Lembur or Praparahan is a life-saving ritual for residents both at home and Lembur. Lembur means kampung or village in the entire area of Banten Kidul, Kasepuhan Cipta Gelar, Kesatuan Adat Banten Kidul. The safety of the life of the resident in one house is prevented by a sawan placed above the kitchen door. The safety of people live in one kampung is prevented by 5 sawan lembur placed in 4 directions and 1 in the middle of the settlement. She explained more that the ritual led by Rorokan Padukuhan is performed in the Cipta Gelar Square at dusk around 5:30. The prayer in 5:30 in the evening. The prayer ritual procession uses a special movement. On the Rorokan, the head of shaman stands in one leg facing west with the path in front of the shaman, who must be emptied. The ritual was closed with 4 people carrying sawan lembur to all 4 corners in the village. This ritual is one of the ways for indigenous people to ward off negative things, including viruses and disease. They believe that when performing the ritual, the village will be protected. This is the evidence that Cipta Gelar Kasepuhan was not affected by COVID-19 and was included in the green zone. As an artist, he tries to create visual or simplify things that are hard to understand, things that are beyond logic and even to myself, to herself. Slide 10, please. Next. In the next 10 years, I have big hope that photography in Indonesia, whether it's travel photography, cultural photography, or even model photography, become a safe space for humankind. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mbak Karina Rosvita, for the enlightenment, and that was very beautiful. That was beautifully uh, presented by Mbak Rosvita about how social media, which have a lot of photos, then become unsafe place nowadays. So it is hoped by Mbak Rosvita that in the next decade, social medias, also photography would be a very safe space for humankind because it's related to culture, and the trends of globalization seems to be, influence us in many ways, including our tradition and then culture, also related to photography, of course. And Mbak Karina already said a very important message for us that we have to consider ethics and the methods of photo making, and to concern on the people who's involved in the photo making to make an acceptable artwork for all ages. Thank you very much once again. Okay, presenters, we're so lucky to have you here. And for the participants, would you please show some love by clicking the reactions of hand clapping? Would you please? Okay, and thank you. All right, and we already see some questions related to today's webinar, and let me read one of them. Okay, from Ibu atau Mbak Christina Novi Susanti. Maybe it's for all of the speakers today. So her question is, would that be possible for art teachers, artists, and artwork managers, together with art students and people in the society, to get together in one particular community of photography artwork enthusiasts to hold international events such like exhibition, discussions, or even a sharing session to speak our voice up, which deals with regulations and general policy, for example, started from this event. So Mbak Christina here emphasize the possibility of a community of photography enthusiasts among the art workers, also the academic life of art schools. Okay, for the presenters who want to answer this question first, please. Maybe Pak Najib. So is that possible for the photography enthusiasts to have a community?
Yes, saya agree. I agree about that. Then I think after this program, also we can plan some activities amongst panel and from staff at Universiti Surakarta, plan satu program yang mungkin ada related benefit about photography and society. So macam di UiTM also myself also I started with kenal dengan Dr. Andang as my examiner. So after kita kenal, then kita buat satu short discussion, short simple activity. Then kita ada buat satu program yang macam UiTM coming to Bandung, buat running satu program with ISB, and then so from Dr. Andang also kita boleh kenal Ibu Aning. So from Ibu Aning, so I kenal Pak Ifan. Then I join dalam satu program yang agak baik lah pada saya dalam perspektif Emang Nusantara punya area. Kita tak cakap tentang Europe, so kita cakap Emang Nusantara. So ini salah satu aktiviti yang mungkin kita boleh perkembangkan dan sesama antara Indonesia dan Malaysia, mungkin salah satu point dia. Thank you.
Correct. Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Najib, for the positive encouragement for all of us. Yeah, maybe the next presenters. Do you have other answers to complete the answer of Pak Najib? Okay, maybe Mr. Dennis Bado, do you think you want to add something?
Hello? Yeah, sorry, I'm having problems with my video.
All right.
So yeah, I think so. Just what I have said earlier. I think contemporary on the art level, at the contemporary time, it disciplines or art practice were not concentrated only to those specific areas. For example, photography, video or film, or installation or sculpture. But art for now, I think the transition of art moved beyond from their boundaries. For example, right, installation includes sometimes film, photos. They also include sculptures, paintings, and stuff. And yeah, the same as with the technology now. I think there are a lot of available. I mean, there will be more concepts that will emerge, or ideas that covers or embrace technology, including that may include technology to photography. Yeah, that's what I think.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. As we know, technology is always growing. So yeah, we will never be far away from technology. Okay, the next question. We also have some comments here from Zoom on. Nice presentation, Mr. Faroni Arifin. And then from Ibu Anin Astiti. Wow, such an honor for Ibu Karina. And then the next question is from Juanda M. Arfis. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. whom I respect. My name is Juanda M. Arfis. On this good occasion, I would like to ask a question, especially for Mr. Dennis Baro and Mr. Setio Bagus. Okay. So the question is, photography is growing very rapidly at this time. A lot of variety of works are produced. Are there any limitations in the creation of the artwork in the context of photography? Are there any limitations in the creation of artwork in the context of photography? Or should we be limitless? Okay, for Mr. Dennis Baro and Mr. Setio Bagus, please, your answer, please.
May I start? I'm so sorry with
Sure.
my video. Yeah. I think if we're talking about art photography per se, and you're going to use photography for your concept, for your artwork, I think the limit will be, or it sh- I think it will be limitless. I think it depends. It will depend. Yeah, what my presentation, what I've said on my presentation, it will always depend on what vantage point the artist or the photographer is standing, and how he or she will going to tell the the story of using photography. And I think well, if we can incorporate photography as a medium of representation, and also as a like a machine to express a certain point within your artwork, if you're going to include or incorporate it with your with a multimedia work or an interdisciplinary artwork per se. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the answer. And what about Mr. Satyo Bagus? Would you add some other points?
Okay, thank you. I think there is something contagious about Mr. Denny Bato. My camera didn't work also, so I'm sorry for the convenience.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Uh, Photography is about the media, and artwork is about the idea.
Mhm.
So it is different kind, it's different thing. The idea is limitless. So how do you know the media is important, and how do you know how to transform your idea into that suite into the media that you desire? It's so important. I think it's limitless. Same answer uh, with Mr. Dennis Batu, I think. Uh, that's all.
Okay, check. All right, now it's working. Yeah, I'm sorry. The question is still a bit longer. I didn't read the rest of the question. The rest of the question said that because at this time contemporary photography is in great demand, which changes the soul of photography itself. Whether I'm sorry. Whether it's from the print media that is presented to a series of installation that add aesthetic value to the photographic work itself. Yeah, the presenters already answered that it could be limitless because yeah, there are many technology and we will never get enough of that. Okay, so next comment was from Miss Christina Noviso-Santi. Again, I don't forget to thank the speakers for their time and knowledge at the SPF events, of course. Thank you. And then next from Meira Indriana. Hello, Mr. Dennis. What's your opinion about people use photography as fact? Like you said, photo could telling lies. What's your opinion about people use photography to capture facts instead of lies? That's what she means, I think. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm going back with my statement earlier that um, like photography has a lot of uses. Like it's a tool for a photographer, right? And well, I think it's not just a tool. Like it's a way for a photographer to tell the story, and that story will base on the vantage point or the perspective of the photographer. And the main purpose of that is the main purpose of a photograph or an image is solely based from the artist himself or the photographer. And like I think looking at images are like putting your shoes in the position, or putting yourselves into the shoes of the photographer itself at a certain time and a certain place. Yeah, so I guess that's it. So if you're going to like for commercial or for like forensics let's say for forensics, it has different it's photography of course, but it has different purposes. Art is photography art I'm sorry, photography as art. Um, Maybe another interpretation. Maybe it's you're composing something that is more whimsical, or like you're shooting social realist photos of the society. It has different um, like different avenues, but we're going to go back with it. It ends up with the photographer's point of view as a starting point. Yep. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. And the next, I think we have one question left. And there's a comment from Ibu Karina to Ibu Anin. We need to acknowledge female photographers because photography is a masculine world, which seen from masculine point of view. Thank you. Yeah, that's important message for feminists, also the female photographers. Okay. And the last question, I would like to hear the answer from Pak Najib, and then Mas Faroni, and then Bu Karina. Hello, my name is Zulki Pancha. Currently, there are many changes or shifts in photography trends with technology, and we adapted to the fact that everyone is now familiar with photography. Technology offers cross media in work so that his work is unconventional. How do you use technology in the creative process of this era? That's the question. So it's related to photography and technology. As we know, the first speaker also concerned on the technology. So please, Mr. Najib, would you help to answer this question?
Okay, I try my respond to my field lah. In education, as I'm teacher, I need to follow the technology because this is important lah. Kalau misal kata I do not know and apply this technology in this era to my student or who is want to salah seperti dalam pameran-pameran. So one part of my mistake lah because I need to use and mengajar what the new technology, the relevant technology in this era to my student.
Thank you. Okay, what about Ibu Karina? Do you have something to add regarding technology and photography? Oh, it's muted. Sorry, your microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I think the technology can be put benefit on us and also can be merugikan ya, can put us in danger. So I think we should be very careful to choose the technology and how we use that. It can be like whether like it's like it really depend on us.
Right.
So that's why I think the ethic is very important here.
Right. The users
Yes.
really play important role in
Yes.
this phenomena.
True.
Okay, the last question would be for Mr. Fahroni Arifin. Hi, I'm Aizat. Regarding the wide range of price in photography equipment, do photography will lose in value in the future because there are wide choice and easy to learning the basic. Okay, so would you please, Mr. Fahroni Arifin?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer on this question, but I'll try to answer as much as I can, because I'm coming from a brand or commercial point of view. I'm basically the client. I'm the one who use a professional photography service, right? I'm the one who are needing the service from professional photographer. For me, equipment. Yeah, the answer between yes or no. For example, like this, I need photography quality in several medium, and sometimes cannot be compromised. For example, I want to use photography for billboard. Of course, it requires a high resolution camera, right? With a high megapixel, and probably DSLR cannot serve anymore. Probably I will need a larger sensor camera, for example, like that, from a photographer. And sometimes I just need photography for social media for my brands, and I don't want to pay more for expensive camera used by a photographer. I probably will get a bargain from him or from them, and saying that I just need a small resolution but in very good quality, and probably just people just see it on their phone, so you don't have to use expensive equipment. So I don't have to pay more expensive like that. So but
What happened? Oh,
I think what most important is we know some photographer who are using even micro four third camera, right? And I think my connection is a bit unstable. I know some photographer who are using micro four third camera, or some photographer who are still using the Fujifilm size of sensor, right? That's considerably small, but for me, as long as he can deliver a story, he can deliver what we need as a brand, doesn't matter. So again, back to the photographer and back to their skill. But sometimes you need a uncompromised quality. So yeah. So the question on the equipment or on the price must be complex answer.
yeah, it depends on the purpose and also on the photographers. Thank you very much, Mr. Faroni. Yeah, maybe one more response from the presenters. Yes, Pak Satyo Bagus, would you please?
No, to Mr. Aizat Sakwan, I think the answer is depends. For photography as a tool, yes, we lost the value. To the photographer as hobbies, yes, it will lose the value. But as a photographer professional, no. As a artist of photography, no. So by choice is us, and easy learning the basic, yes. More easiest to us to learning the basic, more easiest us to achieve what we desire, what we need, what we what we what we need to make. Are you using it for professional photography? You have to learn a lot with a lot of tools of photography, of course, because photography is by the experience of the tools. You will learn all the rest of your life if you want to masterize the photography. You can leave it for a while and then you back to the photography and then you lose the skill. You have to what we call it jam terbang ya. Jam terbang is more experience that we have to achieve more and more every day in the learning and in the process of photography itself. As a photographer professional, you will not lose the value. As an artist of photography, you will not lose the value. As the hobbies, yes, because you spend your money for your hobbies, for your tool that you don't achieve everything except your hobbies. I think it's enough. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Setio Bagus. Yeah, that was the last question already answered. So as a professional photographer, they will not lose their value as a photographer or the value of photography itself. Okay, so I think we already have everything answered in the chat box, and that means that we come to the end of our webinar today. So thank you very much, all the presenters, for the great enlightenments, also new knowledge about the trends of photography in the next decade. And we really, really appreciate of you being here and delivering different varieties of photography matters related to the how it can be in the next decade. Thank you very much. Please show again, once again, some love by clicking the hand clap. And thank you very much. Me, Anissa Putri Cahyani, will hand this over to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Silakan Mbak Sola.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Anissa Putri Cahyani and our excellent speakers today for sharing that knowledge with us. And distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have had productive and inspiring times together, and this event is about to come to an end, and I hope you found the presentation at the seminar are informative and helpful. Many thanks to the speakers, moderator, and participants who have listened to the event from the beginning until the end. Now I will leave you with a quote by Destin Spark, an award-winning landscape photographer from Australia, who once said, "Photography is the story I fail to put into words." Let us all be guided by all the things we have heard and learned throughout the seminar, and not just see, but be able to create our own story through visual art. On behalf of the committee on duty, I apologize for the wrong words and actions. And as a reminder that Solo Photo Festival 2021 is still going until November 27, 2021. Till we meet again, perhaps in the next event, stay healthy and positive. May God always bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Mbak Sola.
Thank you, Mbak
Thank
Karina.
you, Mbak Anissa.